Have you ever wondered how long the human body can go without sleep? A question that might be on your mind during those nights when sleep seems to elude you. This question was supposedly put to the test in an infamous experiment known as the Russian sleep experiment. But what makes it infamous isn't necessarily the results it produced, but rather the question of its very existence. This tale first surfaced in the early 2000s, in the shadowy corners of the internet known as creepypasta communities, where spine-chilling stories are shared and spread. Like a stubborn specter, the story resurfaces from time to time on discussion boards and in memes, sparking debates and curiosity. This tale speaks of a horrific experiment conducted on prisoners using a potent anti-sleep stimulant designed for the Soviet army. So, fact or fiction? Was the Russian sleep experiment a real laboratory experiment? Let's delve into the story. According to the story, scientists in the Soviet Union developed a stimulant they believed would allow soldiers to go without sleep for up to 30 days. They decided to test their theory on 5 prisoners, promising them freedom if they survived the experiment. These men were locked inside a sealed environment, their every move watched through two-way mirrors, their every word recorded. For the first few days, all seemed well. The prisoners appeared unaffected by the stimulant, carrying on as usual. However, on the 5th day, the first signs of strain began to show. The men became paranoid, whispering about each other into the microphones. Their camaraderie was replaced by suspicion, their conversations by accusations. The situation escalated by the 9th day when 2 of the prisoners began screaming. They ran around the room, shouting until their voices nearly gave out. Then, abruptly, the chamber fell silent. The researchers, fearing the worst, decided to intervene. On the 15th day, they stopped the stimulant and pumped in fresh air. What they found when they opened the chamber was a scene of utter chaos. 1 prisoner was dead. The survivors were horribly disfigured, having ripped off their own flesh and jammed it down the chamber's drain. When attempts were made to remove them, they resisted ferociously, showing a strength and aggression that was shocking. One man even tore his own muscles and broke his bones in his struggle to remain. The researchers, horrified by the results of their experiment, wanted to kill the remaining prisoners and destroy all evidence of what had happened. But their commanding officer had other plans. He ordered them to restart the experiment, this time with the researchers themselves joining the prisoners in the chamber. The lead researcher, in a fit of terror, shot the commanding officer in the head. He then turned the gun on the remaining subjects, ending their lives before attempting to cover up the entire horrific ordeal. The principal researcher, terrified, shot the commanding officer in the head. In the cold silence that followed, he turned to face the remaining subjects. A chilling combination of dread and determination filled his gaze. One by one, he eliminated them, their final screams echoing hauntingly in the sealed chamber. His hands shook as he lowered the firearm, the harsh reality of his actions beginning to sink in. The experiment that had promised so much had morphed into a horrifying nightmare. Desperate to erase the evidence of the monstrous events that had transpired, he began a frantic cleanup operation. Every trace of the stimulant gas was purged from the chamber. The bodies of the subjects were removed, their horrific mutilations a stark reminder of the unthinkable horrors they had endured. The bloodied walls were scrubbed clean, every piece of equipment sterilized, every recording destroyed. In the deafening silence of the aftermath, he was left alone with his guilt and regret. He then shot and killed the last surviving subjects before attempting to cover up everything. Was the Russian sleep experiment real? An intriguing question that sends chills down the spine. The story, with its gruesome details, seems to have been conjured from the darkest corners of the human imagination. Its origin traces back to a website known for sharing spine-chilling, often fictional tales. The author, known only by the username Orange Soda, has remained anonymous to this day. While the story itself seems far-fetched, the concept of sleep deprivation experiments is not entirely alien to scientific research. Throughout the 20th century, various studies have delved into the effects of sleep deprivation. However, the idea of a gas or any other chemical keeping someone awake for 30 days lacks scientific evidence. It is true that amphetamines were used in historical wars to keep soldiers awake, but a gas with similar effects remains scientifically unproven. However, experts say that no scientific evidence supports the claim that gas or any other chemical can keep a person awake for 30 days. So, while the Russian sleep experiment makes for a chilling tale, its reality remains a mystery.